What's up, HASfit Tribe? It's your personal trainer, Coach Kozak.
And I'm Claudia, and this is a lower back routine for pain relief and rehabilitation.
There's a common misconception out there that there are one or two magical stretches that are just going to relieve all back pain. And unfortunately, that simply isn't the case. What you actually need is a comprehensive routine that includes stretching, strengthening to rehabilitate the entire lower back. Very similar to what you would achieve by going to a physical therapist 2 to 4 times per week. And that's exactly what we have for you today.
The only equipment required for today's routine is a chair. And you may also want to have a mat handy depending on what surface you're working on.
If you're ready to go, let's begin. Let's begin with a warm up. We're going to start with a march in place. So we're going to take opposite arm and leg working together here. You decide how high you want to bring your knees, depending on your fitness level, how high you feel comfortable with your balance, flexibility, as well as just how bad your back may be feeling today.
That's right. So if your pace isn't quite as fast as him, slow it down.
Yeah, so we're going to encourage you throughout today's routine to make this your own. No two bodies are the same, so we want you to adjust it as needed for you. Making sure to breathe here. And again, so opposite arm and leg are working together, and that is very deliberate because we're getting that ever so slight twisting motion that's going to help bring some healthy fluids to our lower back. Breathing here. We're going to do this one for 10 more seconds. Starting to get a little loose, a little warm. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Excellent. We're going to move into a posterior chain stretch. I'm going to do mine from the floor, but if you don't feel comfortable doing so,
I have a chair here. So bring a chair.
You decide which variation works for you. So I'm going to sit down, put both hands on the floor, and we're going to do a downward dog. So I'm going to, depending on your flexibility, you may have your feet back here, or you might be able to bring them up, or you may be more flexible than I am. But either way, I want you to pretend like somebody is grabbing onto your hips and they're pulling those hips backwards.
And you can do that from the chair by placing your wrists on the back of the chair and almost like you're trying to make a square with the floor. And you just gently pull your hips, and as you get more comfortable, breathe into sinking your head down in between your arms and shoulders.
And this is a static stretch. And anytime we perform one of these, we want to get to like 85, 90% of what we're capable of. We want to feel a good stretch, but we're not pulling so hard that we're bringing pain into the equation.
This is also great for someone like me right now who's currently pregnant. So my blood pressure's a little low. So anytime I bring my head down to the ground, it can cause a little bit of lightheadedness. So this could also be a good option for you too there.
That's it. We're just relaxing here. Like Claudia said, sinking into the stretch, pulling those hips back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Excellent. And come up slowly so we don't have that blood rushing to our brains.
Yep.
A couple of deep breaths, and we're going to move to our backs, lying on our backs. We're going to do what's called a lying hamstring stretch. So let's go ahead and lie on our backs. Legs out, extended in front of us. And so one common cause and symptom of lower back pain are tight hamstrings. So specifically this next one, we're going to work on loosening those hamstrings up with this dynamic stretch. I want you to keep your back flat on the floor. We're going to bring our right straight leg up as far as you can comfortably and bring it back down. Now we're going to do the same thing with your left leg. Try your best not to bend at that knee. So yes, you could get the leg much higher by bending at the knee, but that's not what we're going for here. Once you keep that leg straight, and as you're going through this and progressing through, you'll probably start to feel a little looser And so you maybe bring that leg a little higher. Keep your glutes and lower back glued to the floor here, just bringing that leg up. This is going to stretch your hamstrings, your calves, your glutes, and your lower back. Breathe, nice and controlled movements here. And again, a lot of these stretches we're going to perform today, you'll actually probably notice a difference in your mobility from your first repetition to the last, and that's a good thing. Again, we encourage you to come back, repeat this one, and just get a little bit better, a little more flexible, and we're going to help rehabilitate that back one routine, one day at a time. We're going to do this one for 10 more seconds. Again, just moving at a slow and controlled pace, not a race, not counting reps, moving at a pace that you feel comfortable with. For 3, 2, 1, and 0. All right, we're going to stay down in this position. Next move is called a hamstring glide. So I want you to bring your right knee up, and I want you to place your hands behind that knee. So on this one, you may or may not be able to place your hands back there. Maybe you're not quite flexible enough, and if you're not, you can grab a towel or a band to do so, just to help you out, wrap it around. So now I'm going to, with my upper leg perpendicular to the floor, I'm going to extend my leg straight up and back down. And so I'm feeling pretty flexible today, so I'm able to almost extend that leg straight up and down, but you may not be able to even get close to that.
Definitely not. And that would be following me.
So do the best you can on this one. Okay, so a few functions of this hamstring glide. One of them is, yes, we are improving the flexibility of our hamstrings, but another interesting one is that we are loosening up those nerves that run down our leg. So a lot of times, numbness is associated with lower back pain. So you have these numbness of the legs, you have these nerves that are running down your leg and they get caught up. And so here, in addition to improving our flexibility, we are also loosening and allowing those nerves to break free. And 3, 2, 1, 0. Relax. Let's place that right leg back on the floor, and let's grab our left leg. We're gonna do the same move. And so even if maybe you only have, and begin, maybe you only have pain on one side, we strongly encourage you to go through all these moves on both sides. Just because you're really only feeling the pain on one side doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist on both sides. And, well, heck, worst case scenario, you got some extra flexibility work in. Nothing wrong with that.
You might also definitely just feel tighter on one side.
Yes.
As compared to the other one.
And that is very common and not something to alarm you necessarily. We just want to work through each side appropriately for it. So don't feel like you got to stretch one side extra to catch up with the other. But instead, again, making sure that we're working towards a threshold where we're feeling a stretch, but not inducing pain. We're going to do this one for 10 more seconds. Again, get that full range of motion all the way up, all the way down. Big, deep breathing throughout for 3, 2, 1, and 0. Excellent. Okay, then our next move is called the knees to the chest. So as the name would infer, we're going to bring our knees to the chest. But I want you to do it kind of a special way. Before we begin, I want you to make sure that you actually have your tailbone glued to the floor. So we're not going to bring your legs up and roll up. No, not at all. But instead, keeping that tailbone glued to the floor, grabbing onto both knees. And again, if you need to, you can grab a band or a towel to help you, and gently pulling them into your chest as far as you can without rolling up. So do not roll up. Again, that tailbone should never leave the floor. And pulling those knees into you. And again, we're just holding here. Nice, big, deep breaths. And again, these routines is something we need to repeat frequently to really rehabilitate that lower back. It's not magic, it's science. Doing this one for 10 more seconds. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Relax. All right. So if you're experiencing a lot of pain, we want to be careful with how we get up from here. Rolling over to your side. And then we can come up on all fours, and we're going to come up into an all four position or a quadruped position. And we're going to perform what's called a bird dog. So I'm going to take my right hand, right arm, and my left leg and extend both at the same time. Gently come back down to the floor. Now my left arm and my right leg are going to come up at the same time, under control. Give you a few cues here as we're working through it. So the first one is we have a fist with that right hand, and we're pulling up, squeezing our upper back. And then with our leg, we are driving that heel straight back, extending, almost like we're trying to kick a hole through the wall behind us. So we're not going up, but instead we're going straight back. And ideally, we're trying to finish with a straight line from our arm, our fist, all the way down to our heel. That's hard to achieve, but that is our goal.
So keeping our hips and our shoulders nice and square.
That's it throughout the whole move. Temptation is there to rotate, but we want to go under control here. And at the top, every time we're squeezing the upper back and squeezing our glutes. This move is not only building strength in our entire posterior chain, but it's also what I would like to call awakening our glutes. A lot of times with lower back pain, we end up with glutes that just don't fire. Our lower back's doing all the work for multiple reasons without necessarily getting to all of them here, but then those glutes stop firing, so our glutes aren't helping our lower back in our day-to-day tasks. So keeping those glutes active and strong is pivotal to a healthy lower back. We're doing this one for 10 more seconds. Again, not a race. See, we're moving at a very controlled pace here. For 3, 2, 1, and 0. Excellent. All right, so that was the first move of what is Stuart McGill's Big 3, which is kind of like the foundational lower back rehabilitation moves. So that was the first one, the bird dog. The second one we're going to move into is the side plank. So I just want to make sure I gave him credit there for incorporating these three. It ends up being the gold standard for what physical therapists around the world are putting into their routines. So in a side plank, I'm going to come up onto both feet.
And I'm actually going to leave my base leg down.
You decide, depending on your fitness level, strength level, pain level, which one of these two moves is going to be most appropriate for you today. And we're just going to hold. We're building strength in our abdominals as well as our lower back and glutes on this one move here. You can see I have, instead of going stacked, I have my right leg over my left. And we're just holding here. We want a nice straight line all the way down. Our hip isn't sinking. And we're holding here.
You're going to make sure that your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder.
And we just hold and breathe. Isometric hold. We're going to hold this one for 10 more seconds. We're almost there. Come on, tribe. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Come down under control. And let's turn over to the opposite side now. Same move. Of course, we got to do everything nice and equal on both sides. Taking a second to get into position here. Again, you decide which variation is most appropriate for you. And up. Very good. Again, we want that nice straight line. We don't want your butt up and we don't want it sinking. And it's just a hold here. This is probably one of the more challenging moves that we have in the routine today. That is by design. If we want change, we need to be challenged. And I know if you clicked on this video today, you definitely are looking for some change. And I appreciate that as somebody has personally also had chronic lower back pain in the past. And these are some moves that have really helped me. All right, we're almost there. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Down and relax. All right, we're going to turn over to our backs again. We're going to do the third move in McGill's Big Three, which is called a curl up. So we're going to give you a couple different variations here for you to decide which one is most appropriate for you. We're going to lie down on our backs. We're going to place our hands in the small of our backs. And I'm going to bring my feet up into a tabletop position.
And I'm going to leave my feet nice and flat on the ground.
So on this one, we never want to feel a gap between our hands under our back and the floor. Our hands and our lower back, right? So your back should always be in contact with your hands. Now I'm going to curl up, bringing my shoulder blades up off the floor. My elbows come up as well. And I'm going to squeeze my abs here. So you decide which variation is best for you. We're just going to hold here. Mine's a little tougher, not by much, but a little tougher. And I don't want you to focus on anything but right here in your abs. Squeeze and hold tight. And you're breathing from here as well. So you have some diaphragmatic breathing. You're not taking big breaths out of your chest, but instead you're breathing from your core. You're breathing from your abs here.
You might begin to feel a little shaky, and that's completely normal. But just breathe through the movement.
Make sure to relax your head and neck as well. So we're not, again, it's in your abs. It's not a neck strain. If you're feeling neck strain, take your tongue and bring it to the roof of your mouth. It's a little trick to help you relax your neck in a move like this. We have 10 more seconds here. Make those abs work. Squeeze them, contract them right here. It's the abs that are holding you up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet down and relax. Okay. This next one is called a pelvic push. We can stay in this exact position, but you're not going to see a lot on our end. Instead, it's all about what we are doing with our abs and our inner core. So for our pelvic push, I want you to drive your lower back into the floor. Drive that pelvis down into the floor. Almost like you're trying to arch the opposite way and push into the floor. This one's going to work our pelvic floor as well as our transverse abdominis, those deep inner core muscles that kind of like I was mentioning earlier. So we're holding right now. Just hold. Keep driving. Don't stop. Driving them into the floor. As I was mentioning earlier, your glutes a lot of times don't fire. Same thing with these deep inner core muscles. We got to wake them up. Driving them into the floor and relax. Okay, relax. We're going to do that one more time here in a moment. Take a big deep breath. All right, and let's do it again. Now, driving down. I know there's nothing for you to see from us on camera here, and I apologize for that. So I want you to visualize you're driving that lower back and your pelvic bone down and through the floor. And you'll see if you're doing it appropriately, that forces those inner core muscles to contract, probably in a way that you don't often do, or maybe you're not used to doing at all. Definitely not something that's getting engaged in a typical ab routine. Hold, squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and relax. All right, so for our next move, we're going to perform a hip up. I'm going to do mine with one leg at a time.
And I'm going to keep both of my feet on the ground once again.
So this is going to be an isometric move. I'm going to have us both come up and do an iso hip up so our feet are close to our glutes, and then we're going to drive off our heels and squeeze our glutes up at the top. So Claudia's going to maintain that position, but I'm actually going to extend my right straight leg out and hold. And in doing so, I'm making sure that I'm not rotating at my hips, trying my best to stay square. You decide which of these two is appropriate for you today. If you're more of an athlete, somebody who's used to working out, my move may be more appropriate. If you're a beginner or more sedentary, Claudia's move is probably right for you. Or if you're just in really high pain. And relax, bring your hips down. So we're gonna do this one more time. If you're doing my variation, let's switch legs. If you're doing Claudia's, both legs stay on the floor. Ready? And begin.
Exhale as you push through those heels. Give a nice little glute squeeze right here at the top and maintain this position.
A great strengthening move for our hamstrings, our glutes, our lower back, and our core. So we're not just strengthening that lower back, but all the surrounding areas and supporting muscle groups. Hold. That's it. Not much left here. Let's go last 10 seconds.
Remembering to breathe through the movement.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Come on down nice and slowly. And that is it. You made it, y'all. Nice work, Claudia.
Great work to you.
And great work to you out there, HASfit tribe. As we mentioned before, we recommend that you repeat this routine between 2 to 4 times per week for your rehabilitation process. And did you know that you can get even faster results with your fitness training by following a complete exercise program?
And those complete programs can be found on our HASfit app. You can download it to your Android or iPhone device, or you can even find them on HASfit.com.
If you'd like to support us, you can stop by our store, pick up some HASfit gear, or our diet guide, Eating for Life.
Also, don't forget to like us on your favorite social media channels.
I'm Coach Kozak.
And I'm Claudia.
And we will see you at your next workout.